Coach, so much in the playoffs is about response. How did you like your group's ability to respond to their run and find a way to come up with big plays to secure the victory?
Yeah, that's what I just said to those guys in there. The composure. They tie it up, and we didn't rattle with 3-something minutes to go. Our ability to stay the course, execute. Obviously, had to make a couple big shots down the stretch, but it was more about the stops. That last 2 minutes after I think Cade hit his free throw, you held them at 105. And it was our defense, our composure, our communication. All those little things within the game are so important.
Just kind of building on that to have the trust in each other, defensively throughout the game, and certainly with some of the plays at the end of the game. How important is that, and how much has that been built in a big cause for the team to be in the lead in the series?
I think it's very important. These guys have been talking about it all year, and it builds over time. And as you continue to have the chemistry amongst the group, in that last stretch, Desmond, cramps up a little bit. Jalen saying, get AB. We got to get AB in the game. Coaches are talking about getting AB in the game, and he comes up with a big play. But I just think that it's the trust that they have in each other, and that's what's got to continue down the stretch.
Jamahl, Jamahl here.
Oh, there you go.
When you guys are playing this kind of defense, Paolo's playing an all-around game, but now you get Desmond's three-point shooting like that. What does it do for this team?
For this one game, it was really good. And that's what we keep looking at. This one game, it was really good. Desmond knocked some shots down. Paolo was distributing and playing defense and locking up, and we communicated the right way. Wendell was great. Big possessions down the stretch. When each person contributes during this game, that's what's the most important piece. And I think that's what you see we can do. But again, I'll keep repeating it. It's the one game that we all did it the right way, and there's just a lot to clean up as well.
Coach, kind of back to the point of Desmond, over the last 3 postseason games, he's displayed a little bit of a slump, but tonight comes out, hits the 7 3-pointers, which tied the franchise record for the most in the playoffs. It's been over 30 years since it's been done. What does it say about his work ethic and his ability to just stick to execution despite things not going his way?
Well, besides it just being this one game that had happened, I could go on and on and on and on and on about Desmond Bane. Because he's such a professional, because he doesn't rattle, because he stays the course, and he just works every single day, recovers his body, does it the right way, talks to the teammates, brings them together. He is about as professional as you can be and as great as a teammate you can be. And so to see him rewarded in this way is big. But it's also the trust that these guys have in him because of what he's built to the moment he stepped in that door.
You've seen Franz deliver late in the quarter many times in the last couple of seasons. After the season, he had all the bumps and bruises and missed time. Just how rewarding is it for you, for this team, for him to deliver in that critical moment?
It was big time. He has such a level of determination and focus and a work ethic that is, close to second to none. And for him to be able to bounce back after everything, the ups and downs, whatever's going on with his body, his ability to bounce back, he's never going to lose that competitive edge and that competitive spirit. And that's what he was looking to do, attacking when he need to, making the big shot when needed. Again, it goes back to him. He did it tonight, and that was big, and that's what we needed tonight.
It seems like Paolo has taken a step and really thrives in these playoff atmospheres. What is it about when the lights turn on the brightest that he thrives the most?
He's not afraid of the moment. He was great tonight. His ability to communicate with me, with the coaches, with his player, the teammates, what was going on the floor, being able to distribute the basketball, recognizing, reading how they were playing him, his downhill attacks, that aggression. I thought he was great, and he let the game come to him. But then again, he still was in attack mode all night long.
Coach, congratulations. This is a big win for the organization. Talk to me a little bit about Jamahl Cain. Mm-hmm. It's very hard to come out of the G League and have such an important role in your team. And the things he's doing, talk to me about the trust that you have in him and how specified you see him within your structure.
Yeah, he just does all the little things. And, mentioning that, he hits that big three. And we had drawn up an ATO, and I had him in the other corner. He looked at me like, hey, I can knock that one down too. Next play down, he flips the corner. He knocks down the three. And so it's just those little things like that the guys have trust in him. They celebrate him when he has some success. But he just does all the little things within the game, rebounding, guarding multiple players, and just does it without, saying anything, just what's necessary to help this team get a win.
Jamahl, big picture, and I know it's one game at a time, but what kind of opportunity do you have have you and your team given yourselves at this stage of the series?
I mean, just being up 2-1 at home is a good thing. But again, you got to come out and do it again. And that's the part that's why I'll keep saying it's the one game, because a lot of things can happen in that moment, guys that can step up big, and that's all you need for that. And so our ability to stay the course, stay even keeled, understand that we've got to learn from this game and what we could do better, but also what worked.
Jamahl, just obviously the fourth quarter was crazy. First quarter was even, but the second and third quarters you guys controlled. Can you talk about how your team imposed their will on an opponent that usually imposes its will?
Yeah, I just think being able to throw multiple bodies at different guys. Each guy is accepting their role and what we need them to do in these moments, and that's what it is that's how they responded when they checked in the game. What do I need to do to help the team? Our defense was at the right level where we needed it to be. I think our guys were physical as much as we needed to be. There's a lot of things. Again, I'll go back to it. There's a lot to clean up. But our ability to sustain our effort and keep our composure in the moments that things could have been gone the other way, our guys did a great job of that.
Jamahl, it looks like the Magic fans have a new villain to root against. I've never heard this arena this loud as to when they were talking about getting a flagrant on him. Can you talk about the fans, and can you talk about the fight that your guys even put back against the blows that Detroit was throwing?
Yeah, I mean, that's what this series is going to be about. It's going to be a physical battle back and forth regardless, and we knew that going in. But our ability to, stand our ground, deliver the blows when they need to, be smart about it, and I keep using the word composure. That's what it's got to be. And then the other part, our fans, and I said it when we were in Detroit coming home. I said we have the best fans in the NBA. That the building was loud. They were supporting our guys, understanding exactly what's going on in the game, what was needed to be done. Like that energy that they bring is so important to our guys, and I've said this before, that what they bring to our guys is so important for this group, and it gets us going in a different direction.
Jamahl, when they were able to flip that 3-minute stretch and take the lead, first off, how does a run like that happen, and then how does your team have the resiliency to bounce back in a situation like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Runs are part of the game. I mean, we've gone on runs, they went on runs, and so we just got to recognize what's happening within them. Are we getting the right shot? Are we organizing what we're doing offensively? Are we getting the right type of stops? Like, they hit some tough shots. We fouled a few times. I think that's how the runs happen. But being able to settle it down, and I think in that part of that is, can you get to the free throw line in those moments to stop the run, get your composure, communicate with one another, and get our sets right and get our defense set up right. So again, it's going to be a game of runs. We know that what this is, and our ability to keep our composure the entire time is what's going to be most important.
8 days ago, your team faced a single elimination game in that final play-in, and now you're here up 2-1. How did you get from there? How did your team get from there to here?
What do you think I'm going to say?
I don't know. That's why I asked.
Somebody can give you the answer. What am I going to say? One game at a time. That's how you get here. You handle that the right way, and that's all you can do. You can't go back and look at 8 days ago. You just got to go at what today is. We got the win today, which is the right thing to do, and now we got to go and play one more game and figure it out from there.
Thank you, Coach Mosley.
Thank you.
Good job of staying poised in the timeout when they tied it up, not getting rattled, just realizing that, hey, it's 0-0 now. We got to go win the last 4 minutes. And so, yeah, just very composed, from the team, and got the job done.
Paolo, can you take me through that late three from you? What was going through your mind when the ball hit the rim and it was up in the air, and then right afterwards?
Yeah. No, I mean, I shot it. Didn't feel bad. And then it bounced off the back rim, but when I saw how it bounced, it went, directly up. So the optimist in me was like, that's going in. And it dropped, and I said after the Philly loss, basketball guys don't reward hesitation. That one I didn't hesitate, and they blessed me with that make. So, just a funny shot, but a big shot.
You've seen, obviously, Franz have fourth quarters like that, but for the second time this series, for him to perform that way, obviously that's huge. But how big is that for you guys to see that type of play at home for Franz specifically?
Yeah, I mean, Franz always, he just gets going later in the games. That's kind of how he is. And, we all trust him, to be aggressive, whether it's driving to the rim or shooting the ball. And you just got to give him credit for staying with it, staying aggressive. And, those 2 shots he hit were huge, huge shots. So, he's that guy for a reason.
When Wendell mentioned that he, playing against Duran and Stewart, he wanted to be the more physical guy and set the tone. What did you see from him in those moments throughout the game when him down low, 17 rebounds and, a bunch on the offensive end?
Yeah, he's just been a monster this series on both sides of the ball, on the glass, offense and defensive glass, and then just being aggressive too, He's, making shots, getting to the line, stuff like that. So, when he's playing like that, we're a really good team. And, we tell him that all the time. And, he's a guy that I feel like you can count on in playoff moments and playoff environments. Just as I've gotten to know him over the years as a teammate, he's really dependable in those situations. So, he's been playing great, and we're just going to need to keep it up.
Just kind of on that to give up the lead as you did and have to win those last 4 minutes. How much of a factor is it that you guys have been most of you guys have been through these playoff battles in the last 2 or 3 years? How important was it that and can trust where everyone's going to be on both ends of the floor?
Yeah. Like I said, they made a run to get back in the game. They're a great team. You can't be too flustered when they do that. But when we got in the huddle, once they tied it up, nobody was panicking. Everybody just understood the moment, understood, what had to be done to finish the game off. And, I think guys have enough experience to not panic in those moments and to just stay poised, and that's what we did.
On a night like tonight, how vital is it for someone like you when maybe the shots weren't falling early to rack up the assists and have 9 assists and kind of keep that ball moving and get others involved?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can feel, how they load up, when I have the ball, and so just trying to make the right play, right read. Guys are open. Obviously, I missed some shots that I usually make. Missed a couple of dunks. So a couple other shots I'd like to have back, but in the playoffs, you can't worry about that. You got to stay with it, stay aggressive, not only scoring but playmaking as well. So that's just my mindset. No matter if shots aren't falling early, just not letting it mess with my confidence and sticking with it. And trying to get the win.
Paolo, when you guys traded for Desmond, you certainly envisioned what he could do for you and Franz, but now that you're in a playoff game where he hit 7 threes, what was that like? What did he do for you guys, for you and Franz and the rest of the team?
Yeah, he got us started tonight. Just big shot after big shot. Everybody knows, or everybody in the locker room knows how he was feeling after the first 2 games. He wanted to play better, but at the same time, he still got that same swag. He wasn't in his head. He just came in and cut it loose from the jump tonight, and that's what we need. He's a hell of a player, hell of a shooter, and we're thankful to have him here in Orlando.
Would you? How big is the opportunity ahead of your team now, up 2-1, and how do you guys plan to make the most of that opportunity that you have?
Yeah, I mean, you got to, wash this one off after today and just refocus for Monday. Like you said, it's an opportunity to win another game, and, we got to come in ready, super focused, and excited to play in front of the home crowd again. And, like you said, it is an opportunity, but definitely just, refocus and recover and do what you got to do to be ready for Monday.
Pell, this is your 3rd crack at the playoffs. What of the last 2 years and even the play-in games, that experience, you talked about it a little bit, but what has that done for this team? How much better are you because of the learned experience?
Yeah, I think it's not new to us anymore, at least the first round. It's not new to us. And, we just want to win so bad, Once we got in the play-in, got our spot in the playoffs, it's a new season. That's all we kept saying. It's new season, new energy. And so, tonight is just one step closer to the goal. And like I said, we just got to come back and be ready for Monday. It's going to be a hell of a game. And, I think, everybody understands, the job that needs to be done. So I think we're all, pretty focused.
Paolo, piggybacking off that, you guys have been phenomenal in this building during the playoffs. I mean, how much more confidence does that give you going into Monday? The crowd's going to step up again.
Yeah, no, I mean, it just gives us a lot of confidence. Like you said, we've always played well here in the playoffs, and that crowd gives us an extra boost. And so I can't really say enough about the fans tonight. Loved everybody wearing the shirts. First time I think I've seen a blackout here. That was dope. So I'm glad we were able to get the win and have an exciting game. And like I said, we're gonna have to bring it Monday, and expecting the fans to do the same.
Paolo, the competitive spirit of the Magic team right now, talk a little bit about that.
Just in general. Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of competitors on this team. We got a lot of guys that's won at high levels, whether it was in high school, college, overseas, FIBA. We got guys that are winners, and just that's in our DNA. And so we got a lot of competitors, and we all believe in each other, and we all hold each other, to a standard, especially now being in the playoffs, understanding that we do have an opportunity to turn this thing around and win a series. So we just got to stay locked in, and like you said, the competitive spirit got to stay high level.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you, everyone.
Franz, so much in the playoffs is about response. How did you like your group's ability to respond to their run and come up with the big plays down the stretch to secure the victory?
Yeah, it was good. They're a great team. They're gonna make runs, and I thought we did a good job all night, just focusing on the next play, and obviously didn't play a perfect game, but we'll look at it and hopefully be a little bit better whenever we play again. Yeah.
Franz, you talked at practice this week, or shoot around something, about the not overreacting to the games you lost. What did you make of the team's mentality coming in and the composure you showed throughout?
Yeah, I think even though we lost game 2, we even by a lot, I feel like we just let one slip, and I feel like the whole locker room felt like that, and still saw a lot of things that they capitalized on our mistakes. So whenever that's the case, I think we have a lot of confidence about cleaning those up, and like I said, just keep playing a good game, and they made a couple runs within the game, and I think we stuck with it, and I think overall played a pretty good game.
Detroit obviously made that run and took the lead there in the fourth quarter. What with Kate at the line to take the lead, what was the conversation like between the players, and what did it take to kind of make that last run to close this one out?
I mean, it's really no difference, if it's tied, 2 points down, 1 up, whatever it is. You got to focus on the next play that play as good as you can, and so sometimes times are good to get you back in that mindset, and then ready to go.
You guys have had 2, 3, now this third playoff series, most of you together. Is there just a trust in knowing what you guys are capable of, and where each other is going to be on the floor to perform in those moments?
For sure. I think, having been in this position before is really important. Having experience, understanding runs of the game are going to happen, and just being as consistent as possible. So, that definitely helps. Yeah, unacceptable.
Franz, when you look back at your recovery process this season, just how much of this moment was in your thought process of, I need to get ready to be able to shine when the team needs you the most, to deliver in the fourth? How much did you think about that looking back?
I mean, it's not a thought that's always present, but the days where rehab gets really tough and boring, and maybe you don't feel like going in, trying to progress in the rehab. I think that's when these goals and looking ahead a little bit for what you're doing it for can be really important. And like you said, these are the games, so it's definitely in my mind.
Okay, 2 more for Franz, Don, and then Owen.
Franz, you've been a part of this whole process with this team from rebuilding to being a playoff caliber group. You've been in Game 7, single elimination. When you have the kind of performance that you did in the fourth quarter and the team collectively to withstand that run and close this thing out, what does that say about the maturity of yourself and this group?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you mentioned that CAF series. I think that was a big learning experience for myself and for the whole group. And, sometimes you got to go through those experiences to, like I said, grow and get better. And a lot of that is between the ears and, not always basketball skills necessarily. So, we obviously went through that and, came out better, hopefully.
Franz, what does it do for you when you, Paolo, and Wendell, when Desmond's hitting 7 threes like that? And is this what you envisioned when you guys first got Desmond?
For sure. We need him shooting those, and I think he got a couple really good looks early, and that got him going. I think that opens up a whole new dimension for our group.
Yes, this is a question. This is a question for both of you, please. What kind of opportunities in front of you now that you're up 2-1?
Just play another game on Monday. Stay focused. Like I said, clean some mistakes up that we made, and then I think that approach will get us to 4 hopefully as quick as possible. But I think the moment you look too far ahead, that's when you're not as focused as you can.
Mr. Franz, you're just
All right, buddy.
Yeah. Good job.
How did you like your group's ability to respond to their run and come up with the big plays down the stretch to secure a win tonight?
I mean, that's we've been in these situations throughout the season, previous postseasons. Especially after that game 2, where we kind of wasn't able to weather their storm. I think we did a really good job of, combating that. And then I got to give a lot of credit to Franz and Paolo for taking those 2 big threes. But that's, like I said in my media earlier, like that's what the playoffs are about. It's make or miss, and your will to win. I think we did a really good job of that tonight. And yeah, I did.
Wendell, you mentioned Franz there. He goes on that 5-0 run by him. When you guys go down by 1, just for him to hit those 2 big shots for you guys, just what did you see from him in that moment, and just the way that he kind of put you guys on his back there?
I mean, that's what we expect. Franz and Paolo are 2 gifted players just all around, and we put ourselves in that situation, and those guys are very confident in what they've done, the work that they've put in. So, I'm rocking with whatever shot they decide to take. And like I said, that's what they're here to do: take the big shots and make the big shots. So, I think there's definitely some things that we can clean up, so we're not in those positions as much. But when we're there, I trust that they're going to take and make the right shot. My bad.
Just kind of building on that, you guys have been together. Most of you guys have been together for the last 2-3 years in those playoff runs. How much was that fourth quarter and withstanding the run just about the trust that you have in each other to be there for one another, to be in the right spots, to grab that big offensive rebound, to do all those things?
I mean, that's the trust factor we've built. I think it was something that's been built over these last couple of years, from the highs and lows to positives and negatives that we could take from these past couple of years. I think one thing we've always been able to rely on is our effort and our energy. That's something that we all can rely on, no matter if the shots are going in or not. And on top of that, everybody just accepting their roles, accepting what's needed for this team in order for us to give us the best chance to win a game. So I think over the years we've allowed the roles to kind of define themselves, and guys are just accepting it, embracing it, and that's why it looks the way it does now.
Del, you just talked about sort of accepting your role. What's your mentality been going into, and what's been working so well in your matchup with Jalen Duren to largely neutralize his impact, not only tonight, but really each of the last 3 games?
Just being physical. Understanding it's a physical game. That's honestly it. Just being bringing the fight to the game. I mean, that's as simple as that it sounds. Is exactly what it is. That's all it is.
Wendell, you don't need us to remind you that 8 days ago you guys were facing elimination in that play-in game. How did you get from there to here up 2-1?
Fight. We understood it was an elimination game. We won it, and it's a brand new season now. No matter what happened those past 82 games, it's all about what's happening right now. And I think we've done a good job of being able to turn the page and be able to be optimistic about what this season could ultimately end in. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the beauty of this team. Like I said plenty of times before, like we always find a way to respond, and I think we've done a really good job of that so far. But now it's about Monday and taking care of Monday.
Wendell, this is another playoff game at home that this group wins. It's been terrific in the building. Can home court advantage be understated? I mean, how important was it? And then what's the confidence level going into Monday?
Home court advantage is the name of the game. Just even throughout the whole 82-game season, towards the end of the season, everybody's just trying to get home court advantage going to the playoffs. It's so big. I give a lot of credit to the fans here, through the trials and tribulations. They've been here rocking with us throughout it all. And now, they're being rewarded with, great basketball. So that's the first part of your question. And then, I think confidence is at an all-time high. Like I was saying before, no matter what happened from the first game to the 45th game of the season, it's about right now. We've been taking care of business. So now it's just about paying attention to Monday, clean up some of the mistakes, and give ourselves the best chance to win the game.
Wendell, you talked about the fight and physicality. You helped foul out Jalen Duren. Stewie pushes you. He seemed like he was frustrated. They had to put in Paul Reed. When did you know that your physicality was kind of frustrating them and maybe getting under their skin a little bit?
Honestly, I didn't really pay too much attention to it. I didn't really pay too much attention to how they was reacting to it. I just knew I had to be the most physical person out there or they was going to punk me. It's as simple as it is. So I'm not really paying attention to how they're taking it or how they're reacting or fouls, no fouls. I'm going to continue to play my game no matter if it's whoever's out there, no matter. So that's kind of my mindset going into it. So and then at the end of the game, we got the dub, so that's all that matters.
Thanks, Dal.
Yep.
I have Desmond here.
We get in there? No, you need to get in there.
DraftKings has your back with early exit. If the player in your eligible prop bet gets injured in the first half, you can